Hey there guys, how you doing? This is Ice9 and this is another Madden Mobile video. And I just really stunk up my league to league drives, only put up 8. We're not playing that great of a league, so hopefully my league picks me up in this one, but was not real happy with the way I played. So the best way to practice and get better is certainly by playing Hall of Fame. And let's see what I got. I got an overtime game. Let's see what was kind of countered. Looked like the run and short pass wasn't countered that hard. I kept running into those soft counters, though. Was managed to fight through it for a touchdown. He's running a lot of the same type of plays. Running some of those play actions in there, too. And it's a pretty good drive for his touchdown. Then on my next one, and I take a sack, rolled right into the defensive end who came unblocked, wasn't able to get the completion on flare. And this is his 5th drive, and my 6th drive, the same type of percentages, and I get picked by Chancellor, again catching those soft counters at what seems to be more than 17%, but that's the way the game is these days. And pretty good drive, real good drive. And then Gronk fumbles on a counter. Can't see what play ran, but he had a pretty good drive. So for me to win, I have to score, of course, or I have to get more yards. And he got pretty deep there, so I have to have a good drive and get luckier with these counters and play well in order to win this one. And that's what we'll try to do. Alright, so the fair catch. Running game was not countered that much, so we're going to go to that. That's a counter. Catch a 14%er right away. We're going to try to get out of it. Flip spread FL drag. And third down. And curls flats. And there we go, and catch another 17%er. So there they go, ticking along those counters. And get a nice completion to Gurley, who was initially covered. Then I looked for Gronk, and Gronk had the outside linebacker coverage, so I had to go back to that, but managed to get the first down here. So doing pretty well. We're going to try to run it here, and hopefully my guys can block, and we get a fumble, non-trucking fumble, and hopefully that was enough yards to get a win. Did we get another tie? I think we got another tie. Yeah, so another tie after all that because of the fumble recovery, probably. So a little bit unlucky on that one, but that's Hall of Fame. It happens. Now, drive 4 of 6, and I have not done anything against this guy. So let's see what he's doing. He was doing well until he started running into those softies. I get picked by Hall. Next drive here, kind of doing the same thing, running the football a lot. Couple long and play action plays in there that a hard counter unit would typically have covered. So he gets in. So I haven't seen a counter at all as of yet. So better keep playing the short passing and the running plays until I see a counter, and then from there hopefully I'll know what to do. Probably a hard counter unit of some kind is what I would say. And I'm going to start this out with a run. Bunch HB dive, that's a countered look. And 34% against the run. So That probably means that he has 3 collectibles and ultimate freeze setup, 3 collectibles for long passing and play action plays. Better stick with the short passing and hopefully do well with that. It's kind of soft coverage there on Jones, who picks up the first down. And we're going to go to trips, tight end stick. No catch in traffic. Spread FL drag, that's a counter. Do get the completion, but 30%. And we're going to go here. We don't need all of it back, but double slants is what we're going to do. And I really wanted to go to 1 on that one, but it just kind of flipped over icons, and I ended up going to Gronk and getting extremely lucky. Really meant to go to wide receiver 1, though. Continue with the short passing. Get it to Gurley here, who is surprisingly strong and sheds a tackle all by himself. And we're going to continue to do more of this. Bunch spacing, and we'll see what kind of a look that I get. And wide receiver 1, that was actually a counter, but I got it off quickly enough. And let's see, we're going to try slants middle and hopefully get a good look. And we barely get that one in to wide receiver 1. We are going to try curls on this play, and that's a good look. Hopefully the linebackers come up. That is definitely a good thing, and hopefully they don't drop back into coverage and I could lob it in. Should be able to get the lob. Instead, I get a deflection. I just, I didn't put anything on that ball. I just tried to lob it as quickly as I could, but didn't manage to get it off. So with this type of unit, I'm going to try now deep curls. And I get no right tackle help at all. So now this is kind of a tough one. 3rd and goal. I'm going to try motion cross, even though this is going right into the teeth of this defensive unit. And this is what it counters at the highest level. But we get it off to Sanders for the touchdown, and we're able to tie the game. And rough defense for sure, but I managed to tie it up. Okay, let's see what else we got going on. We're losing 7-0, having not taken a drive here against Big Reg. Trips all go. A little cross in. And he likes that play. Which version of Jones is he using? I wonder. Oh, I went to him in the slot. Okay. On that particular play. And we're going to try. We're actually going to run the same unit against him and hopefully it does better the next time. Even though right now I've got 3 short pass and run collectibles and 2 long pass / PA collectibles. So it's not really doing what I needed to do against him with him liking the long pass, but hopefully the counters catch him the next time. And we haven't done anything against him, so we're going to try to play a normal drive. And, didn't get the good throw, so didn't get much of a completion at all, even though it wasn't countered. That is not a countered look. Come on, Gronk, drag him. There we go. And we get the first down here. We're going to try to run it a little bit. And he gets good and cracked for his efforts. A little pitch. And a little cut back juke. Get a couple extra yards because of that. Still get tackled though. Strong IFB middle. And kind of dangerous, but early enough. Screen definitely got freezy on that one too. Threw it a little later than I wanted to, although if you throw it too early, a lot of times the fullback will not catch it. Little curls flats. And it's pretty good coverage. We're going to dump that one. And we are going to dump that one, and then so 3rd and long, haven't caught a counter as of yet. Not totally unmanageable. I'm going to try running trips. And that was dangerous, tight coverage, and I didn't get a lot out of it anyways. And we're going to go to FB flare. That could be a counter. And that was a counter, so 20% and a turnover on downs. Gronk did not catch it, but at least we know he's not countering the short passing plays much. Drive 6 out of 6 here. And it's score or go home. Let's see what he's kind of doing. Not real good percentages against the run or the short passing. And that continues. He does not change much there. And cross up to Jones. Ouch. Big play. But he did leave it open. So if I do score, I win. So we're going to continue to run in that short passing game and see if I can't do anything with that. Take that touchback. We're going to try cross in here. Fit it in between those defenders. Get a nice 2nd down look there. Try running outside on pitch. And I tried to juke there, but it did not work. Strong IFB middle, the recommended play. That was coming. Ooh, nice. Auto run he missed, made him miss the tackle. So that was definitely a good thing. No, we're not going to do that. And let's see, what can we try here? We're going to try trips, tight end stick. That looks like a counter. Still get the completion on the critical. The screen is getting really, really freezy. I'm not sure how it records, but able to get the completion. And let's see what else I want to try. Double slants. Outlet is open, but with the screen being freezy, I'm not able to get it through enough. Get it there in time. He runs out of bounds. Try some curls flats. Outlet again is open. Gets the catch. And we're going to try to run it a little bit and get something on the first down here. And 2nd down, not bad. Try to jam it in there with fullback dive. to Gurley. Flip spread to FL drag again. Linebacker layoff. Nope, I take a sack. Roll right into the pressure. Right tackle doesn't block well enough, so tough. And I got to try to make this up right here, right now. I'm going to do that with FB Flare. Do not get enough time to do much of anything. And let's see here. 14%er. So now we're in really a bind. And we're not going to kick the field goal. We're going to go win or go home. Bunch Z spot. Come on, Marshall. Nope. Not in traffic. Not in Hall of Fame. Not meant to be. So throw was there where it needed to be. He just didn't come down with it in traffic, and that is Hall of Fame for you. Tough, tough stuff. So Big Reg here putting up another 3. We're not going to play him back. But at any rate, though, in league play, so I put up 8 today. Not very happy about that. And we have played number 10 Heroic Destiny now 3 times in 5 league-to-leagues. And what I have to say, these guys are really good. And with the update, it really shows the difference between leagues. It really, really does with the update. You know, we got absolutely destroyed all 3 times, and we did not make the adjustments to even play better against these guys. We just did not do well against these guys at all. So it was a little bit discouraging for sure. You know, it was definitely tough. They are a bunch of great guys. They're very, very nice. A couple of them subscribe to YouTube, my YouTube channel, so that's pretty cool. I'm glad, you know, that they like the content and things like that. But you got to give these guys a big thumbs up. They played well. Also, in our last league-to-league against them, we had a situation where we had a guy with game film with a 3rd and 18 and then no game film after that. So that is obviously evidence of force closing, which we do not allow in our league. He made it worse. Our player that did it made it worse by not saying anything in chat right away. You know, just kind of let it go. That is not the right way to handle that situation. He finally did come forward and say that he had a network disconnect. I don't know in a drive. Usually when I get a network disconnect in a drive, it wipes out the whole drive and it shows that I took 3 drives, but it doesn't show any game film at all for the drive that's missing. He had plays on that drive, then all of a sudden there was nothing. So it really doesn't look good. And all that I have to say is with that, because he did finally come forward and say he had a disconnect, I will give him the benefit of the doubt, even though I do have my questions. But the only thing that I will say in the video here, and I won't call out the league member by name, but I better not see that in film again. We are a clean league, win, lose, or draw. We play clean. We do not force close. We do not cheat. If I see any obvious evidence of it, you're not going to be in this league. You know, that is just the way it is. And it's always been the way we played. So that I will definitely say. But that said, these guys are really good. And hopefully we have learned some things by playing these guys, although in my drives tonight, you wouldn't necessarily know because I definitely did not do well at all. But hopefully the rest of my league picks me up. And I like playing in my league. You know, I mean, there's a bunch of guys here that I've been playing with well over a year. In some cases, like a year and a half, I've played with some of these guys. Know them real well. We chat all the time. And in KIK. So, you know, I like our core and our group and who we are. It's just, you know we have ways to go. And it's a tough part of the year, guys. It just really is a tough part of the year. It's always like this after the Super Bowl and after the regular NFL season's over, after the season's over, where a lot of players stop playing, and the only players that are left, or a lot of the players that are left, I should say, are more hardcore players. Because of that, it naturally, if EA did nothing, which is pretty close to what they're doing right now, but the economy gets more stagnant anyways. It becomes more of an upper end type of economy. By this point, a lot of people have better teams. A lot of the people playing have really good teams. And the only players that are desirable to a lot of people are those top tier type of players. So that makes the economy tough anyways, because you got less people moving it, you got less players, you have more hardcore players, and they're all looking for the best players. So that just makes it a tough thing. Now, on top of that, EA is trying to do things to kind of inject life back into the game, but the way EA has kind of done some things really does make it tough. And let's just look at the various live events that are up there right now. We've got the daily warm up that takes no stamina, so that's cool. We get a pro pack a week. You can't really complain about that. We have the legacy event, and one good thing about this is today with the obstacle course, I was able to use gold medal master Barry Sanders and check him out and see how he plays on the obstacle course. And he was definitely awesome. I do look forward to better running backs in this game. He's definitely a bit better than CJ2K. Although CJ2K is pretty good, I must say. But looking here at this, the rewards, and you get a chance at an X Factor or a flashback, or I've never gotten anything out of this event. And I know very few people, at least in my league, which has been 20 plus players all year, who have. So it's kind of a joke for 5 stamina. Gets you a little bit of coins, you can't complain about it that much. But if that's your reward for working hard last season and spending money with EA, and you get this once a week event with these garbage, dismal, odd rewards, it does make it a little bit disheartening for sure. Then we got the regular scrimmages. Biggest joke on the planet right now, besides the CFL event, which they continue to go on with, although I have no idea why. This champions thing, why bother doing it? The collectibles are so hard to get for the players. If you do manage to get the master player, Antonio Brown, he's the only one you could sell. He's not going to make anybody's team by this point. Some of the non-auctionable cards from some of the other events are better. So this is just something that EA has not kept up with. And Champions was basically Road to the Ring last year. And Road to the Ring by this time as one of the cards, and they were all auctionable, and there was no master player. They were really hard to get everything, to get all the rings for some of the players. But there was a 98 Nate Sauter card as part of that event. It was very close to the stats of the Combine player this year, maybe even a little bit better. And there's nothing like that this year. The best overall player is 92. And they still got the live event going. They have not kept up with the promo at all and tried to update it or do anything with it at all. So it's just... they've got promos. They've got more promos than they've ever had, but at least in this case, that's a waste of time. Then we have Game Changers. And Game Changers this year, my best pull last year from the live event was DRC with the speed boost, who I kept on my legacy team in the nickel. And that's a pretty good player right now. That came out, I believe, in February 2016. And we've had nothing like that for Game Changers all year long. And the sets have been harder to do. They've definitely been harder to do on Game Changers. Just to go into this, and this is the way that sets have worked a lot of times with EA this year. So we've got journeymen, and we've got veterans. Who cares about either of these anymore? They haven't kept up or upgraded players with these at all. No reason to really play them. And the rewards are not as good out of them. And they've had these kind of upgrade sets. So you play the live event 15 times, assuming you don't get any silvers, which a lot of time you do out of the live event. You get at least a couple. To get one of these players, so this requires 8 times, and I think they're 4, so it takes almost 2 full stamina bars to do one player. I think I've pulled 1 elite total since it's gone this direction out of this pack. And then you got this nice little upgrade pack that requires 20 game changers. So think about all the stamina that takes. What is that, 40 stamina bars? Probably 35, something like that, to get enough gold game changers to put in there, which is usually what you get from that last set is a gold game changer. I think that's a minimum gold or better, yeah, which means 90-something% of the time gold. And then you got to put 20 of those in, so all that effort and an elite trophy to get one of the elites. And the thing is, the pull rates for everything is just not very good. Definitely not as good as last year, which was definitely not as good as the first year Madden Mobile. The rewards are not as good through this event as they were this last year, which were not as good as the year before that. So the rewards have gotten worse. And out of these elites, here, let's see what we get when we look up elite game changers and just kind of look at the whole thing here. And, more negativity in this video, but I am going to at least say what I think are a couple ideas that could get things going along. So elite game changers, let's look them up. Some not bad players in here. Le'Veon Bell. Been a while since I've seen somebody running that, though. A lot of acceleration boosters out there. Not too bad of a boost. In terms of putting him in as a booster, though, for defense, -1 awareness is kind of a ouch kind of one. Then we've got Vonda here, which is definitely +2 strength, -1 awareness is not necessarily a good trade-off. Awareness being one of the most important stats in the game. Then we've got Diggs here. Jump versus catch doesn't seem like a good trade-off. So you got a lot of cards that don't go for much here. Carry versus agility, that's one of the 90 cards here. Smith with +2 strength versus acceleration, not necessarily a great trade-off. Tackle versus taking away agility, which affects both offense and defense. A lot of people have Showdown Kukli anyways. Not necessarily a great trade-off. T.Y. Hilton here, again, taking away awareness. Acceleration and wake here, but taking away tackle, which isn't that terrible, I guess. Getting a boost that gives you something that affects the whole team versus taking something that with -1 tackle, but 77 speed on the card. The Sue card here, I see some people with really good defenses running this card. Got good hit power and good power moves. Not a bad card at all, and the boost is pretty good trade-off. Sammy Watkins, last year this card was +2 speed, -1 catch. We could see this year what it is with all kinds of acceleration boosters out there and not many speed boosters, but so this card is nowhere near as good as the Sammy Watkins card was last year. Clay Matthews, that's not a bad boost. just 88 middle linebackers, kind of long in the tooth now. Hauschka here with kick power versus accuracy. It's kind of like, who cares? You're only doing that for overall anyways, and it's an 85 kicker, so not too relevant. And it goes on and on and on. Zone versus man, but the stats aren't really great. And, one card, so awareness versus carry with Breeze. And we could kind of look at all of these, and some of them are better than others, but none of them are just too awesome at this point. And one of the cards that's been really good, and it's been out since the beginning of the year is Gurley. He's fairly common, but still kind of expensive at 2.5 million coins. And for those who played last year, who would want a speed booster for less, one card from last year that comes to mind is the gold Dree Archer card. There's nothing like that this year. Speed boosters have really been tough to come by. And this is basically one of them, but he's really expensive, which means he's probably not a real common pull. And then the one card, let's try to look for the unicorn here. And Allen Robinson, and we refresh, of course, just for effect, and we know there is nothing. I've not seen this card on the auction house all year. I believe it's +2 speed, -1 acceleration, 88 or 89 wide receiver. I've not seen this player on any teams that I've played or that I've noticed this year. I know of nobody who's gotten this card all year. And part of the reason is game changers. The sets are harder to do by what I just showed, and because the pull rates are not exactly random, even when we're talking about elites. So that is just kind of been a sad state of affairs for game changers, and they haven't done updates on that one in a while as well. So let's go back to our live events, and what else do we got to do here? So Game Changers is just tough. Definitely not a good one to spend stamina refills on. Then we've got the rewind events here. Let's take a look at these. So we've got Season Stars, which has potential. Assumedly, this promo is going to be going on for the end of the year. And at some point, hopefully these are better than 95 overall players. Now, one thing about it for Season Stars, we've got a guy who loves them in our league, Gak, who's been with us a long time. He's a real good player. But Gak doesn't spend a lot of money at this game. So, the Season Stars are giving him some nice little upgrades on his team. And let's look at Gak's team and do a little impromptu team review here. So, 100 overall. And I thought his defense was higher. Oh. Wide receiver 2. I thought he had Sanders, same as me over there. He might have sold Sanders. I don't know what he's doing, but might have sold Sanders, which really boosts the overall of your team. So not sure what he did, but he's making some changes here. But anyways here, so he's got Season Star Gordon over here. Stats are not terrible for the money. You get really good pulls from the live events with Season Stars. Then he's got a couple on the O-line here, even though I'm not a big fan of that Brooks card because the low run block. Still not a terrible card at all to get a nice little upgrade at the offensive guard position. He's got the players that he could get. Nate Sauter's a good value and a 98 offensive tackle. And you got Zach Martin, who's, a great value. The all-pro players are just inexpensive because there were only 2 master players. And a lot of the players in the sets were non-auctionable. So it was just one of those things. People had enough time to work on the players, and there's so many out in the marketplace, even though he's the best O guard in the game and could possibly be for the rest of the year, despite that lower impact block. He's just not going for a lot of coins, especially right now with a very depressed Madden Mobile economy. And then here on the defensive side of the ball, let's see what he's got. He got the players that he could get. He worked on Showdown Kuechly and was able to eventually get him. He got Domination Von Miller. He got all the Tier 7 players with us. He got Gronk. He's got some interesting players on defense. He's got Jamie Collins. So, once again, not too expensive. If you got to get one combine player for your team, I'd probably pick Collins. And then he's got some of the non-auctionable players from combine that he's put to good use. And this Barwin card here boosts up pretty nice. Got a lot of green over Daniels there, even though I'm running a lot of boosters on my team. This guy's still got a fair amount of green over Daniels. So this is not a bad card. The one low stat on the card, I believe, is hidden its block shed. But still, not too bad at all. Then a campus hero at the other defensive end. And, there's give and take and a fair amount of green there over Beasley. So not a bad card. He's running Combine Dontari Poe. And, in terms of values for defensive tackles, that's definitely a good one. And then another season star that he just picked up, Harrison, here at the other defensive tackle position. So not much green at all over Short, but still, not a bad card to get in there right now. He's got Marcus Peters. Anybody, if you have 400 plus thousand coins, which we'll actually check him out in the auction house in a second, he's going for just over 400,000 coins. And I would argue he's the best corner in the game right now. There are others that are more rare and might be as good. For example, like Super Bowl Malcolm Butler. That might be just as good as this card, but I play this card a lot. He gets a lot of plays for me. He's dangerous. That is, in my opinion, as good a corner as in the game right now. Then he went through, did the MVP sets, got Rhodes here. He's run a pretty good card in Headliner Barry here. Then he's got one of these. So he's doing what he can to get good players as he goes along, and then he tries to fill in. For example, here, he's got Leon Hall, and as a dime, if he was a safety, that would look pretty good with 89 zone coverage, 91 man. So with that kind of hit power and strength, that's not a bad player to have at dime, and it's one of the non-auctionable players that you get from Combine. So he's done a pretty good job piecing a team together here, and then he could work on a position at a time. And then a guy who doesn't really spend that much money on the game. And I believe he's going to college too, so he probably has less time than some of us to work on his team as well. So he's done a good job. So getting back here, though, to the auction house. And we see that we can't get any Robinsons still. We're trying to look for that unicorn. But there's nothing out there. And one of the things, going back to live events again. So season rewind, this is what else is going on. So we've got the season stars, and hopefully those will get better. We got campus heroes that give us some 98 players, and this set, it seems to me, is a little bit easier to do than last year. That Clemson collectible for the set is kind of a pain to get, and none of the players are really interesting to me right now, but I could see this getting better in the future. Now, going back to a year ago with Campus Heroes, about this time last year, a Jadeveon Clowney card came out, 99 defensive end, plus 90 speed. When it came out, it was definitely the best defensive end in the game when it came out. And, but it was a difficult pull to get. I remember one guy in my league, Big John Riggins, got him last year from doing the set. I never really bothered to do the set that much because it was a gamble. He got lucky and got him and got a good amount of coins off the player. He sold them and really did well in terms of filling in the rest of his team. But that was an example of a card that we had about this time last year. And hopefully EA keeps things going and ramps these guys up to 99s and comes out with some better players and campus heroes. Now this one, this is a public service announcement, okay, on this Rewind event. So this one, it says for 7 stamina, you prevent 45 rushing yards in 3 attempts. For your first win, you will earn a gold linebacker for position hero sets. I call BS. I played the event once and got a 250 coin quick sell. So this is just EA being lazy. We know with a lot of these events like Legends, the Rewind set doesn't give you the same thing that the regular live event gave you, but in this case right here, they kept it at 7 stamina, and I got a 250 coin quick sell for my efforts. I was a little mad about that, and it's definitely lazy on EA's part. Change the description. You don't get a gold linebacker guaranteed with the first win. So just letting everybody know, although it's pretty late in the day by the time I'm recording this video. So for a lot of you, it's probably too late, and I do apologize. Okay, so this one too, as part of the Rewind set, it's the throwback and a throwback reward pack. Usually the regular Blitz event, I get silver trophies or I've gotten a few of those snapshots. Through the Rewind, I played it a few times here, and I got nothing but garbage and quick sells. And I did get one good 10,000 coin quick sell. I will say that. So I got that out of the event. But otherwise, it was not like the normal event where you usually get a silver or you get one of the collectibles you can use in throwbacks. Has not worked that way with the Rewind. Then we've got fan favorites, and it's a good way to get training weights. I haven't done it yet today, but obviously to get one of those 95 players, you require a ton of training weights. I think it's somewhere in the region of 500 training weights that you need to get one of the 95 players, along with you need to throw elite trophies in there. I seem to think that the number is around 15 to get that. And we're going to explain why. Although fan favorites have definitely potential, right now they're just not too great. And then we've got the Ultimate Legend event here, Rewind. And the rewards from this, I have not played it, but it doesn't even mention anything that you're going to pull. So they've finally gotten honest about this one and say, hey, you want a few coins, go ahead. That's what you're going to get, and you get nothing else. So it's kind of a sad state of affairs. But, on the economy, we talked a little bit about how it's a top-driven economy where everybody wants the best players. And people talk on Mudhead. It is unbelievable the amount of negativity on Mudhead now these days. In terms of, there's no promos out. They're not doing anything. And that's not true. They've got promos they didn't even have last year. It just so happens that a lot of these promos are just kind of garbage right now. And we're going to go into each of these and kind of explain why. But also, there's going to be a little bit of hope in there as far as I'm concerned, because I do think that they're going to get better. So we're going to talk about Ultimate Legends last, but first we're going to start with these fan favorites where a player gets voted every week. This week it's Patrick Peterson, so 95 cornerback. And we're going to check out his stats in a second on the auction house. But we're also going to, when we talk about fan favorites, we have to talk about Murray, which is the only one I did, week 1. New promo, going to try it out. And to get a guy from a 93 to a 95 requires 300 training weights, the 93 player, obviously, and 10 elite trophies. So all kinds of effort, all kinds of coins thrown into this to get a 95 halfback. Now, this was a lot better a month ago when this came out. I actually kind of made my coins back the first day on Murray. Stats are not terrible on the card, but, a lot of better and better running backs are coming out right now. So this is not nearly as good a deal, but now that was week 1, and now we've got Pat Pete, and we're going to look him up at the auction house right now. Okay, so 95, Patrick Peterson. And there's 3 of them out there, and one might have just been listed, but not even moving, for 365 coins. Actually, earlier today I was checking this out, and one was not moving at 315,000 coins. So think about everything you need to do to get this player. You could look at the stats, and they always kind of jip Pat Pete cards with play recognition. It's just like a Mac or a Shazier, that in a lot of years, especially last year, Khalil Mack, Shazier, and Pat Pete, they just think they're dummies. Or, they give them really good physical stats, but low play recognition is just something they do. So this is totally ordinary for a Pat Pete card. Usually he's pretty strong, no exception here. 88 strength at the cornerback position is not bad, but 92 speed. Usually his cards are a lot faster than that. In this year, they've slowed cards down and kept speed boosters out of the game willfully, it seems to me, for a lot of people. They just don't have access to speed boosters, but it's just not a great card. And you look at that, so that's 365. And let's do a little comparison now. $365 and not moving. We already kind of mentioned this, but oops. None out there. It's getting kind of later. So that's definitely a factor. But earlier in the day, this card I saw at the auction house with a buy it now of 425,000. And obviously remembering the Pat Pete stats now, why would you not want this guy? Anybody who doesn't have this card needs to have him. That is what I will say. I don't know if he'll be on the team for the end of the year, but I could see how he might be on mine. Other cornerbacks are going to come out, but I haven't seen a defensive player hit this game in all 3 years of me playing that has made more plays than this card does. And some of it's the changes in gameplay, but man, this card just makes a lot of plays. For me, against me, pick sixes, picks in zone coverage, picks manned up against Julio Jones, either Team of the Year or the Super Bowl card. Just makes plays. Everybody needs to have this card. If you could possibly afford him, you need to get him. If you don't have him and you have 400,000+ coins, you need to stop what you're doing right now and get this card. No doubt about it. But it really ruins that Pat Pete card. So going back here, 2 season stars and fan favorites. This is not real relevant right now. And there is no reason whatsoever to spend that number of elite trophies and have to get that many training weights to try to make coins off that player. It just is not worth it. From effort alone, it is not worth trying to do these. But what you can do in the meantime is win the events out, play it a little bit here and there, start getting these training weights. And what I'm doing is starting to squirrel these away in the sets that I'm not using in the hopes that they get better with this event. And hopefully EA will. Okay. On to Season Stars, which is Gak's favorite. And the great thing about Season Stars is even though the players may not be good enough for my team, there are some pretty good players on there, and you can do these sets fairly easily just by playing the live event. There are a fair number of gold player drops through the live event, and so that means you could get these players week after week. And so if this one gets better, this is yet another one where if you save up the gold players that you get and some of the collectibles, it might pay off as these players hopefully get better. Again, hope upon hope. And then throwbacks here is probably the biggest one where we have an opportunity, I would say. Unlike flashbacks earlier in the year, the collectibles all are the same from one player to another. Now, you got to get these snapshots to get gear. I have not gotten one piece of gear yet from the live event straight away, but I have gotten snapshots. And I'm trying to save up these right now. Not playing it too much, but I am trying to save up some of them for sure. So I've got, a few snapshots now. So what you can do is try to get these and just try to get the helmet. Apparently is the most difficult pull to get out of the live event out of these. But if you get enough of those, you could eventually get it together and do a throwback. And the best thing that could happen, there are 95 overalls in here. Just as a reminder now of flashbacks at this time last year. Actually, a little bit earlier than now. We have a flashback that made my legacy team last year in Andre Johnson. So, early March last year, this card came out. 99 wide receiver. And I believe the base speed was 96. You could see what the strength boosts up to. Not many acceleration boosters last year. I just had Barry on this team. And then I had DRC taking away acceleration. So really good stats all the way around with this. The carry was a little bit lower, maybe. But actually, in terms of jump balls, this was a really good wide receiver when he came out in March. And he ended up making my legacy team. So, it was a good card. Good blocker, too. Good, strong, tall wide receiver who could jump. 98 jump. So that's what we had at this time last year. Just released this year. Okay, and keep in mind too how flashbacks was different and required a bunch of elite trophies and gold trophies. And it was a random pull. There was no live event or anything like that. So it is important to point that out as well. But this year for throwbacks, now a little bit later in the year, this card just dropped. And a better boost and +2 acceleration. But now look at the stats. Nothing about this card besides carry is as good as that card last year that we got for flashbacks. It's just nowhere near as good as at all as that Andre Johnson card. And this was what we got going on right now. It's not a bad boost, but there's acceleration boosters all over the place. And so it's not a terrible card to go for if you need a wide receiver right now and you weren't around to get any of the Super Bowl cards or Team of the Year Jones or, some of the other cards, Pro Bowl Marshall or some of the other cards that are out there. It's not a bad option. but it just really reflects the difference between this year and that last year and how good the releases have been. You know, all it would take to get throwbacks going now is you could have another 95 player if they don't want to up the overall for some reason now with a +2 speed boost. And once again, I know I've really been harping on it, but it needs to happen. You know, it definitely needs to happen. You know, it would give something for somebody to work for people to work for, and there needs to be a speed booster in this game that is available for people who haven't bought coins or who, you know, somehow aren't just auction house, just ninjas. You know, they need to give a speed booster that's a little bit more easily available to people. Gurley's been a little tough to get. He's still going for a lot of coins right now, even though he's been out all year long. Robinson, once again, is a unicorn. That card doesn't exist except for theory and on Muthead's stat page. That is it. Otherwise, I've never seen the card. That is sad. Really, really sad that that card doesn't exist. You know, and so having a +2 speed booster throwback would be an awesome thing. It doesn't matter what position it is at either. It would make a difference. But as these guys ramp up in overalls and or we get a speed booster out of it, one kind of cool thing about it is you could keep working this event and, you know, one set is the same as the other. They don't have distinctive cards that you need in order to do the player. You know, so if you somehow get this helmet or plug away at this, you could be ready day one when they do a really good throwback. Assuming that they don't change the sets. That's always a possibility with EA when they bring out a really good card. But otherwise, maybe not necessarily a bad thing to prepare for. Now we're going to talk again. We're going to revisit positional heroes. And apparently some people on Muthead have got me interested because they like this card better than Gronk, which I found hard to believe. But, you know, enough good players were saying some on Muthead that this card is good. And even though the stats are kind of similar to Gronk and he doesn't have the boost, and Gronk, by the way, this is not Domination Gronk, as I messed up in my last video. That was last year. This year it is Mobile Master Gronk. I think you guys knew what I meant, but I apologize for that. But anyways, though, this card, even though the stats are kind of similar, the blocking is actually a little bit better, though. I looked at the stats and compared. And a lot of people are saying the gameplay on the card is better. And they're running Olsen here at tight end. And they've moved Gronk over to the slot. So that's very interesting type of thing for sure. So I've got the players obviously for it. I just need the collectibles. But I'm holding on to everything for the time being, because I hope the better tight ends come out. And I'm hoping also that they do a gold medal master and a silver medal master. And I'll get back to that in a little bit. Okay, so apparently that's a pretty good card, though. And I'm seeing some top teams running Beasley, too, especially in a 3-4. And when you look at these stats in the 3-4, that's a pretty good run stopper / pass rusher. You know, so 99 cards. One good thing about positional heroes this year, they dropped the collectible requirement, which makes them easier to do. So you could just say now, okay, if I get enough, for example, centers and golds and elite, then I'll be able to do that player week one. It's pretty consistent as long as you get the gold and the elite trophies as well. But you could kind of prepare for the whole thing if you want to upgrade a position. So not a bad thing. And they're going to be 99 players, which is pretty awesome, using some of the garbage that is just out in the game. So speaking of garbage, on my legacy team players that were made out of some of the junkier players out. I have both of them on my legacy team, and got the gold medal master Barry Sanders here. I believe this required 5 elite players per team, and I thought it was 20 gold players per team. There might have been some other things too, elite trophies or some kind of other requirement. I don't think there was a trophy requirement, actually. We'd have to look that up. You guys could look it up and also see, but this was surprisingly easy to do. And if you did the silver medal master before it allowed you only needed 24 out of 32 NFL teams to do it. But you could use the gold players, and you could use the elite players that aren't going for much anymore, and put in the set and get this really great double boosted 99 halfback. And the stats are pretty sick on this player. Not as strong as CJ2K this year, but it was 98 base speed, 100 base acceleration, 103 agility, 102 elusiveness. That's a Barry Sanders card. Really, right there. That is Barry Sanders for sure. And +2 acceleration. Ball carrier vision wasn't a very good boost, but not bad. Something you could use with the absolute junk that you get from this game. Then the first one, which was really the crazy one, was the silver medal master that came out in early March last year. Camp Chancellor here. Now, when this card came out, there was no boost, no +1 tackle, no +1 zone. And people looked at the set and they're like, are you serious? You want us to do this? It was, of all 32 NFL teams, required 75 bronze and 75 silver players, and then 25 of each bronze and silver trophies per team to unlock the player. Thousands of players and trophies to get this, but all junk to get a 99 player. And that was the beauty of the set. And it was definitely a pain to do the set, but in a way it was kind of fun. And in a way that really helped the economy keep going, because it was a reason for people to rip through packs. You know, not everybody wants to go out and try to snipe 75 times 32 bronze and silver trophies. Just by doing that and trying to get those players cheap, it took me 2 weeks, 2 solid weeks of working on those players to get them. But a card like that and a promo like that is definitely necessary right now and would help keep the economy going. Now, an interesting thing from this year, and then here, let's go back into this so we can be reminded of Gauntlet Y here, where the stats are pretty good, actually very good. Would start on just about every team this year, you know, but this was Gauntlet and it was a lot easier to do. Now, we've got to give EA some credit because I've been ragging all over them for how things have changed this year. But they have responded to the overwhelming negative feedback from people on Mudhead and didn't really run into too many people who liked the Gauntlet set, the new Gauntlet set. Even Patriots fans didn't like it, and there were a number of things that were wrong with this. You know, I think the first thing that stuck out to me was the boost, but then also that it was another wide receiver, which we've had a lot of. And then it being Edelman, who's not 5'8". As I said in my last video, he's 5'10", but that's not much better, especially when he has 92 jump. But they've done a couple things with this set. We've got to give EA some props, and then I'm going to make some recommendations. Although I doubt EA watches my videos at all, you know, I'm going to give my feedback anyways on what needs to be done because EA has gotten kind of crazy this year. They've gotten a little bit over the top, in my opinion. So Edelman here, so the choice of a wide receiver, kind of a stacked position, picking a 5'10" guy in a game that really favors guys who could go up and get the jump ball. This is not going to be that kind of player. And then the boost, +5 catch, which is totally redundant from Mobile Master Gronk. You know, +5 catch boost might mean that some of the drops I got in my head-to-head games earlier, they might be catches. I don't know. They might not be catches. You never know how much you're really getting nerfed. Is it -20 catch in Hall of Fame? In league to league, is it -10 catch? Or is it more like -40 catch in Hall of Fame and -20 catch in league to league drives now? It's hard to say, but this might help out a little bit. But the addition of a awareness boost is really does make this a lot more attractive. And it doesn't make it great, don't get me wrong, but this is really going to boost overall for one thing. A 99 wide receiver with a double boost and a huge awareness boost like that. It's going to let players drop off some of the tier 7s that they've wanted to do. It's going to boost even really high overall teams. Plus, with the +5 catch and +3 awareness, it's going to allow a lot of things. One thing that I think for me is the way that I play with that short passing game is this might not be a bad one to try out. And then the other side of it is what else, as we just show that I've shown with the live events, what else are you going to do with your stamina anyways? You might as well work on this. Now, the tough part of Gauntlet, of course, besides the player, and it's a 5'10" wide receiver, and, the boost is now a little bit better. Stats, they have improved, 96 speed, so on my team right now running 2 speed boosters, he'd be 99 speed, 99 acceleration. You just got to watch it. You can't just throw it up and hope for this guy to go get it. That is for sure. Although in league play now, it's just hard to do that. You can't just throw the ball up for grabs anymore. Countered or not, the defenders, corners, safeties, and linebackers just react better now with the new update in league to league. So you can't just chuck it up there. The guy actually has to be open. Anyways, so there's definitely that to be said. But in terms of the set, the other complaint about it is the way this new set works. Where now, it's a 10 stamina play to get the badge. And if you lose, of course, the one nice thing is you get 9 stamina back, so you only lose a little bit. But still, you got to get 10 of them. And out of the 3 times that I've gotten players so far, doing some stamina refills, I know in my Wednesday video I said I wasn't going to do Gauntlet, but after reading Mudhead and just everybody's reaction, I'm like, EA's going to do something. I said it was a 200 Madden Cash level disaster. And what they decided to do was add a nice, useful boost. Speed still would have been better. They really would have, the program would have caught fire if they would have added a speed boost to this player for sure. But the awareness booster has probably got more people like myself thinking about it. So I'm going to continue to plug away at this. But I already got a duplicate. I only got 2 players. 1/5 of the players required. And I already got a duplicate Murray. So apparently Murray is kind of a common pull, and I had to use that dreaded Gauntlet breakdown set and get half of my collectibles back. Thank you very much. Would you like some Vaseline? And, I got to go back and do this thing. Now, a tough thing about Gauntlet now is it was a little bit later than last year, really about the same time. But now that the set is harder to do and there's no Domination 2 Gauntlet exchange set to go along with that. So at this point, the Domination collectibles are useless. I am hoping that they will come with some kind of set to use the Domination collectibles, and I got the space on my bench right now, so I'm just holding on to my 96 Domination collectibles. I know there's at least one guy in the DEA chat. He said somebody in his league has 300 dupes. That's so brutal. You know, when Gauntlet hits and hits this player and there's no exchange set, I can imagine that individual's pretty frustrated. I really, it's not hard to see how that guy would be frustrated. So there's no exchange set, and the sets are harder to do. Still cost 10 stamina per win. If you're not doing stamina refills, in the course of a day, you would be lucky in the one day a week that you have Gauntlet, which is Wednesdays, to get one player. I think that's a pretty good job. It's basically 2 full stamina bars and then some. That's hard to do in a day. It really is, without stamina refills. So, in an either-or situation, what I think EA needs to do, given this case, is they need to do either an exchange set from Domination Collectibles, and then they're really going to make some people mad, because I know a lot of people have just quick sold the collectibles now, and they're just all mad. They're going to be doubly mad if they come back out with a set like that after the fact. So they could do that. Or another thing that they could do, and I think they should do this, is they could run Gauntlet 2 days a week. Run it on Sunday and run it on Wednesday. Or something like that. Because otherwise, one player per day without a stamina refills. And I know they want you to spend money on stamina refills. They want me to spend money, and I'll spend some, on this. But if they really wanted me to spend money, they would have given him a speed boost, quite frankly. +2 speed, +2 awareness, and watch how much money they make off a Gauntlet. They didn't do it. Again, their weird thing with EA this year of trying to balance the game and make it more fair on one hand, but on the other hand, it's a cash grab where the really good speed boosted players are only going to be available from people who get really, really lucky and pull them from packs, and the pack odds being a lot more terrible this year than they were last year, and are definitely worse than they were year one. Going to that real quick. Year one on Mudhead, you could probably look up Ice 9. I think it's Vonnegut is my name on Mudhead. And you could look up my old posts, and if you find it from 2 years ago, I did a 5 million coin Pro Pack opening in June of 2015. From that, I remember that I got 3 99 final edition centers, mangolds. I got 3 of them. And I also got 1 Mobile Master Larry Allen guard, which was a set-based only Mobile Master. And I got him out of a Pro Pack. And you think about, wow, that's some good pulls right there. I made my coins back then some, did a giveaway on Mudhead, was really, really happy, was able to make coins and buy players. I remember I bought Mobile Master. Who did I buy? I forget who I bought actually with that. But I was able to keep Larry Allen and still made coins. And Larry Allen was one of the most expensive players from that year. Now you fast forward 2 years, and pack odds that good are hard to imagine. They really, really are hard to imagine. And they got unlimited packs now, but you don't get much good out of them, that's for sure. So anyways, though, back to Gauntlet here. This is harder to do. And, they want people to spend coins and spend money on the game for stamina refill. You can't sell any of the players, which is pretty typical for Gauntlet, Gauntlet and Domination. You can't sell or buy the collectible, so that's nothing too out of the ordinary there. But they want you to spend the money to get this player, which may or may not, from a gameplay point of view, make a lot of people's legacy teams. That is kind of rough, for sure. And, that was a real good catch. That was a great catch. I thought in some ways the Jones catch along the sidelines, even though they lost, was a better catch. That was an amazing catch as well. But, it was a good catch. But in terms of selection for a player and everything, I just don't know. And, I'll work on it now, but they could have really made more money if they decide to give him a speed boost. They really could have. And one thing really to go through now is somebody had a really good post on Mudhead, new member, and they talked about revenue and what EA has made this year as opposed to last year. And they didn't compare it to the first year. But their revenue is down this year, especially in the month of March so far. And I think there's a couple reasons why. Pack odds have gotten worse every year. Okay, they just brought out another cash grab set a couple days ago. We're going to talk about that real quick. And let's see if we can find him. All right, so there we go. King of the Gridiron for 5,000 Madden cash, which is $50. And, the pack was 12 gold or better players. And one of those players would be one of the masters from the promos all year round. 93 and above. A lot of them boosted players. And that's what you get. So this guy pulled a Randy White. Auction sitting right now at just under 5 million coins. That is the cheapest one on Auction House 4 right now by 25,000 coins. Not moving. I think that same auction's been on there all day now and has not sold, which is kind of sad, but really good player. Better defensive tackles are coming out, though, which we're going to cover with Ultimate Legends, but this is a pack that came out this week. So that's one player. That's a really good pull out of that $50 pack. Now let's check out another one. And D'Angelo Williams from way back in the BCA days. This was one of the master players. Let's see if we could find one with a little gold crown, which means the buyer was a sucker. And not seeing any, but these were one of the pulls that you could get from this. And we could see he is going for not quite, probably around 500,000 coins, which is what you get for spending $50 with EA. Kind of garbage. That's really kind of sickening. And it can get a little bit worse. Let's see if we can find one. This is a very tough way to search. Actually, there's one right there. How about that pull? Playoffs Jimmy Graham. It's a 95 tight end. And sitting there at 225,000 coins. That is truly sad and ridiculous. That's all I got to say. But it was a brand new pack, so I know a lot of people did it. I should have done a video. I was at work when I saw the thing come out, and I was like, oh my goodness, immediately. No way. There's no way you should spend money on that one. But I was at work, so I couldn't do a video and warned people not to spend $50 on this pack. But things like that, cash grabs like that, are part of the reason why EA is not making as much money as they used to. We've had all these sets now and all these promos with non auctionable players. Okay, so we've had Combine. In some ways, Combine was better than last year because that master player last year, CJ2K with +2 acceleration, 100 speed, that card was hard to get. It was hard to get those Combine elites and get all of them to put in that set and get that player. So that definitely was difficult. That was a tough thing to do. It was easier to do this year, but all the players and all the collectibles were all non-auctionable. You got these very good 98 players, but it was hard to make coins off them because you couldn't sell the parts, and all the players were 98 overalls. You had Bruce Irvin that you could throw in if you're running a 3-4. You had Jamie Collins that you could run if you're running a 4-3. You know, you could try some of the other cards. You could try Mariota. You know, that's a pretty good mobile quarterback still. Vernon Davis, you want to try a tight end with a little bit better speed than Gronk. With my speed boosters right now, he'd have 99 speed. I should almost give that card another try. You know, but all the players were the same. There was no better player than the others to aspire for. There was no master player that you could put all the Warriors in and get. Like, for example, you know, getting, you know, a random pull between CJ2K and all the other cards that ended up being pack-only type of cards. There was no other set to go to. So once the market got saturated with those players, and there are some good players that were Combine Warriors, but once enough of those players got out there, you know, they didn't bring a lot of coins. And when you thought about what you had to do to get a Combine Warrior, especially because you couldn't buy any of the players that went into it, and there were no better players to get out of it at the top end, didn't make a lot of coins. It wasn't a real good way to use stamina refills. And one of the reasons for that, too, was stamina refills and why they haven't been as good. I've talked about this before, is that guaranteed pulls have been more commonplace with EA. Guaranteed pulls of non-auctionable items. So a gold collectible like Combine, you need 10 of them to get a gold player, which you can't auction that. And then you got to get 10 of those to get one of the elite players. And then you need the specific events in order to get one of the Warriors. So that's a lot of work. It's a lot of coins. It's a lot of packs. You know, I did a lot of those Combine packs trying to get CJ2K. And it's a lot of packs and a lot of coins spent. If you wanted to do it through using stamina refills, that's a lot of stamina refills that it took to get one of those players that just don't sell for much. And the thing is, we know with this economy this year, it's been tougher because of coin sellers. And that's definitely part of the story. People buying and selling coins and the hyperinflation that resulted made it difficult for people who don't spend money on this game. And you need to try to make those people happy to a certain extent, because those people who don't spend money, if you give them something to work for, if, you know, they see some reward for their efforts of spending money with EA, they might spend a little bit more money. And then the people who do spend money, they might spend a little bit more money if they think they're going to get something out of it. This year, EA is making less, not just because of coin sellers and because of the results it's had on the economy. Now it's been a couple weeks and EA hasn't had really anything going on in terms of new promos with top players. So it's been kind of a tough time for us. We assume that better things are going to come out. Okay. So I do hope that that happens. But it's harder to make the in-game currency on there. They've really starved it, and I know they're trying to get the extra coins out of the game that resulted from hackers and botters and coin sellers and therefore coin buyers and etc. But they've gone too far, and it's not just about trying to manage the economy and the hyperinflation, but it's also about EA trying to starve the economy and make more money for themselves. But in the process, I think they've made it so discouraging that people are spending less money, and it's actually counterproductive. And I just gave a few examples where they could make more money right here, right now. Bring out a speed booster. If they made Gauntlet a speed booster, how different would that be? If they came out with a speed booster throwback, even if it was a 95 overall player, how much money would people spend trying to get that player? They'd spend more. I guarantee you that they would spend more money. But EA instead, there goes Jimmy Graham, king of the suckers, expiring at 235,000 coins. And that is somebody who spent $50. Very sad. Very, very sad is what that is. Okay. So enough with that. We're going to get now into Ultimate Legends, and it got a facelift. Okay, so we go into weekly now, and we go to Ultimate Legends, and we have two sets. We have two players, rather. What happened to the old ones? They got put in the vault. And they've totally changed this. And just to be reminded now, Ultimate Legends has only been out a month and a half or so. And they've already changed the way that they're doing these sets, and they're easier to do. Okay, so that's definitely a good thing. There's nothing wrong with that at all. They made the sets easier to do. Now let's review the old set. So we needed all of these players to put in there in order to get the set-based player. 98 Strahan here. He's already not the best defensive end in the game this year, but we know better ones are going to come out. That made it kind of tough too. 97 and 98 set-based players, and with the stats that aren't, overwhelming by any means. And then these are tough to get, especially this 92 card is very rare. So kind of a tough set to do. Now going back, and the EA has made some changes, and we got to give them props for it. They made the sets easier to do. Now required are, instead of 5 badges, which you get one guaranteed through the live event every week, and then you get one per pack that you open. Of course, the flip side of that is these badges at different times last year brought a lot of coins. They brought a lot of coins for these badges. So if you didn't want to do the Ultimate Legends that week and you got a badge pull, you can make some coins off it. Not this year. This year it is, you must open packs to get these if you want to do Ultimate Legends more than once every 6 weeks, every month and a half. You have to do packs to get at least some of the collectibles. But there are less collectibles and players required. You need the rookie player, which hopefully won't be that rare of a pull. Usually they do that like they did last year. They make that pretty easy to get because they want to tease you and they want you to get that player. So you're like, oh, if I just get these, I'll be able to get this player. Okay. From what I understand, in this week, another change that they made, and this is another good change, is assumedly, and from what I've heard, all the old Ultimate Legend stuff is out of Ultimate Legend packs now. It's all gone. So that's a good thing. You're not going to get the old pulls from the first month and a half from players that are going to become increasingly irrelevant to the game. That's a good thing. Then less collectibles are required. The pain, though, is that this year collectible is the most rare. So that's pretty rare, and it's pretty tough right now to get that pull. But these two others, team and position, are not too bad. And then the badges, you can easily get those. So it's going to make these sets easier to do moving forward. The other good news with Ultimate Legends is they've now moved these guys up. Instead of 97 overall, we got 98 or 97 to 98 overalls, rather. We have 98 and 99 overalls. And if you look at the stats on the set-based card here, Dockett is pretty good. 96 power moves is really, really good. 93 hit power is definitely respectable. All the other stats are good enough to play on a lot of teams at this point. And because the set is easily done, or more easily done, I should say, that makes it a lot more appealing to do this one. Moving on to the other card, we've got Donovan McNabb, so a 99 set-based Ultimate Legend, the first one of the year. This is good news. This is definitely necessary, especially considering now where it seems that positional heroes should be 99 overalls from here on out. If they're not 99 overalls, that would really make me mad, by the way. I hope it doesn't go backwards. That would really be lame if EA does that. But assumedly, though, the positional heroes are going to be 99 plus overalls for the rest of the year. And therefore, Ultimate Legends have to follow that. These, in theory, should be better players, I would think. Now, looking at the stats of McNabb, we've got mobility at the quarterback position, which is welcome. But the bad part about the card is the throw power is a little weaker than Brady, who, if I upgraded the quarterback position, this is what I want. Well, as usual, I want everything. I want more mobility. I want somebody who's more mobile. I want somebody who's tall. I want somebody, though, who has better throw power than Brady, which sometimes on long balls, Brady throws up some weather balloons. I definitely have to keep in mind that limitation of using Brady versus like a Favre. And then the throw accuracy, while the short and medium are good, and this is going to be a good quarterback to run with and a good quarterback for the short passing game, which is, right up my alley, what I like to do. But the throw accuracy deep and the throw power are not real good. Now, sometimes cards play a little bit differently from their stats, but, right now it's not the most appealing card for me, considering I've got, a card with better throw accuracy and a boost. It just doesn't seem like a good replacement. In some ways, the Mariota card from Combine is definitely better. Now let's check these guys out the auction house, and there's been a lot of positive here talking about Ultimate Legends with the new changes. Easier to do the sets, but there is a flip side to that, of course. And the flip side is that, man, these players aren't bringing squat. There we go. Day 2, Ultimate Legend weekend, and there's McNabb. Sitting, somebody was very proud to build him, was hoping to make coins, and the auction is sitting at under 500,000 coins. First weekend a player comes out and Ultimate Legend comes out, that is sad. And we could see, and part of this too is the fact that you're only really going to get parts for 2 players from Ultimate Legend packs. So that means there's a lot of them out in the auction house, so that brings down the economy, is unfortunately the side effect from that. While we're here, we're going to check out the boss. And look at that, 7.5 million coins for Donovan McNabb with an acceleration boost. And man, these prices. Donovan McNabb, long after his NFL career is over, continues to get disrespected. He had a great career, just couldn't get over the hump, made it to one Super Bowl, didn't play too well in it, but he was a great quarterback for the Eagles, and playing in Philadelphia, no offense to anybody in Philadelphia, but you guys are tough, and you guys were tough on this guy, and the tough times continue for Donovan, even in Madden Mobile years after he retired. What can you say? But looking at the stats here of the boss, this is not real bad. And, let's look for that one again. That was less coins. And, 7.5 million coins. An acceleration boost, which might increasingly be valuable because Rhodes, MVP Rhodes, is definitely tough to boost up to 99, and his boosters disappear on teams. Same thing with Urlacher, really. Acceleration boosts are going to become more and more of a commodity, especially when you got a 99 overall player who has this kind of boost. This version is even faster, of course, than the set-based version. So really good quarterback to run with and pretty good strength too. I read something on Mudhead where some guy says he even trucks pretty well. I don't know how much I'd try that with a quarterback, especially in Hall of Fame. But if you're by the sidelines or something and just scrambling, why not try it once in a while, I guess. But we could see here now the throw power and accuracies are very similar to Brady, with the exception of the throw accuracy short, which is a few points less, but 95 is still very, very respectable. So that's a really good card. And, I would think about it, except I figure better quarterbacks are going to come out. And it's so hard to make coins right now. Why am I going to spend most of my coins on one player? It just doesn't seem to be real worthwhile. But still, all in all, that's a pretty good card. That Boss McNair card had a better boost. But I think that McNabb card's a better player. So let's check out Dockett now. And we're going to check out both set-based and the boss versions. A little bit different story with the boss on this card for sure. Boy, there's a couple for 85 million. How many coins do people think that people have? That is crazy. Starting their own little monopoly, sure. Sure, 85 million coins. Now, let's look at the boss. And, of course, we could see here, this is definitely better than Randy White. The boosts aren't as unique, but tackle boost is kind of nice. Really good base strength, speed, hit power, power moves. If you got this guy and then you got White in the 3-4, he's got 99 power moves. Assume block shed's really good. That's the best defensive tackle in the game right now. However, I don't see a defensive tackle being worth 85 million coins unless it's like +4 speed boost or something like that. But it looks like somebody's starting a little monopoly on that. He was going for 20 million coins earlier in the day. I saw auctions ending at that, but right now, apparently, they're not going for quite that. Not as many of the set-based version of the card out there too, but they're pretty reasonable at 800,000 coins. Fair amount of green over white. Not a bad card. Really kind of in the same wheelhouse, though, as the Positional Hero short card in the Combine Pope card. So one or the other might be better for overall, but better defensive tackles, you got to assume, are going to come out. So That's kind of the tough flip side of it. Now, there's this cool new set, though, too. Although, knowing EA and odds, it may not be as cool as it seems, but we've got this new set where you could put in 5 badges, and I've got a lot of them from all my pack openings on Ultimate Legends when they first came out. You could put 5 of those in and get an item. I don't know if you could get a badge back. That I'm going to have to do some reading on this before I do it, because if I put in 5 badges to get one, I'm going to be mad. I am going to be angry. So I'll definitely read up on that before I do the set. But right now I consider that a possibility. But, you could get an item and then do it. And basically, if I find out that badges are not pullable from this, which they very well might be, I might do it next week depending on what the Ultimate Legend players are. But for this week, one thing that I can say is that if you need a defensive tackle or a quarterback and you want somebody with some mobility, this is the week to, do the sets for sure, because the market's absolutely saturated with these right now. So that is basically it, guys. So we've got a lot of sets here that could really improve, and a lot of promos that are out there. We didn't have fan favorites last year. Throwbacks we did, and we had the flashbacks. Campus heroes we had, but we didn't have season stars. You might say, who cares about either season stars or fan favorites? EA could make those better. And hopefully, for example, if they make these fan favorites better, hopefully it's not 600 training weights and 20 elite trophies to get a 98 or 99 player. I think that 300 trophies to get somebody to a 99 is probably enough. But we'll see what EA does. Then throwbacks, we could see the big possibilities with that. And also, All Rookie came out for console this last week. And once again, one of the All Rookies made my legacy team last year. And that was this Dawkins card here, who could start on anybody's team right now. Just a really, really good player, better than the Ultimate Legend this year. I believe the base speed was 95 on the card, but if you look at all the other stats on it, including that 102 hit power, 97 zone coverage, I believe it's 96 base zone coverage, 94 tackle. That's an excellent card, and it came out early April last year. Now, All Rookie last year, if you look up my videos from last year, I cover it, and I made millions of coins off All Rookie. And, it was a great one to do stamina refills with, because the players you could get, there were some really good individual players out of it. Like there was a Winston quarterback card, 96 overall, that got some good coins because it was a good mobile quarterback. And then all the players, you could use the offensive players to put in the offensive set, kind of like All Pro. And then you had the defensive players that you could put in the defensive set. And everything but the collectibles was auctionable. So it was a great one to use stamina refills on. And I hope that they do something like that this year. What I fear with the EA is that they don't do it for whatever reason. They just continue to starve the economy more. And I hope they don't do that. And then if they do it, to realize that they've starved enough coins out of the auction house and out of the economy to bring back promos with auctionable parts. And good auctionable parts, which is what they need to do, in my opinion. 2 master players last year was that Dawkins card. And that was a true 99, by the way. And the other card was 99 Marshall Faulk that would start on a lot of teams this year. It was a great receiving halfback with 96 base speed, I believe it was. It was a pretty good card. It wasn't as good as Gold Medal Master Barry, but it was a good card. So they need to do something like that. Then we'll have Easter coming out and some other promos that'll be coming out, and maybe even some new stuff that EA thinks up. But that's a long video, guys, and I just really wanted to cover the promos, how they're different. Some of the things that EA needs to do. If EA wants to make more money, once again, in my opinion, the first thing that they need to look at is making their live events, promos, and packs better to try to get people to spend more money. In terms of Gauntlet, once again, my recommendation would be either have a collectible exchange from Domination and possibly bring out Gauntlet 2 days a week. Run it on Sundays and Wednesdays, because otherwise one player a day, and that's a big if, with no duplicates means that most people who aren't spending money on stamina refills will get the player in 2.5 months. Even with the improvements to the boost and the stats, that's probably not good enough to get a lot of people working on Gauntlet really hard. So, I think EA could do a little bit better as far as that goes. And I know it gets tough, once, you give a promo and, people take it for granted to a certain extent, that the promo is going to be there the next year. Then they come out with another promo and the same thing happens. So I do understand that people will start feeling a little bit entitled, but I do think that EA has got people feeling a little bit deprived right now. And on top of that, I think that one thing that's tough is, even though that I like it, even though it's really frustrating at some points, league to league being harder is definitely taking a toll on people as well. They've changed gameplay quite a few times this year. And with this latest change, they've made it harder. And yes, that's going to make scores really represent the skill between players a lot more. So I think that's a good thing. But it does make the game really frustrating when you take that into account, along with the frustrating economy. I think it has made it less fun for people in general. So that's some of the things that EA will do. I guess we will find out what they end up doing. But that's a long video, guys. Thanks for bearing with me, and thanks for watching.